In this video, I'm going to give you a full beginner's airdrop guide for Hyperliquid and how you can take advantage of this massive opportunity. So Hyperliquid, you must have heard of it by now, is growing absolutely massively. This is competing with the likes of Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, and all of the top CEXs because it's essentially an on-chain Binance. And this thing is an absolute monster. And they've just released their new layer 1, Hyper EVM. And this is a major deal because currently Hyperliquid operates on Hyper BFT. That is the core consensus layer. And on top of that, they have two products. They have Hypercore, which runs all of the tech for Hyperliquid, for all of the perps and spot trading, you know, the Hyperliquid exchange that everybody is trading on. And now they have added Hyper EVM, which you should all be familiar with because we all understand Ethereum. So now having the two together combined means you can seamlessly and effortlessly bridge across between Hypercore, the Hyperliquid platform, and Hyper EVM. So you can then access DeFi, stablecoins, and all of the glorious things that an EVM has access to. So this is absolutely revolutionary what Hyperliquid is building. And this is why you should be getting involved, because you need to understand how revolutionary and how big of a deal this is. If you look at the TVL, this is for Hyper EVM. You can see this is just steady up and to the right. And we've really seen nothing yet. Hardly anything has been bridged across to Hyper EVM yet, because this chain is in its infancy. It is literally just starting. So you can see it's currently got $1.6 billion in TVL. And it's already one of the top chains within just months of launching. You can see the stablecoin market cap is only 3.8 billion. The app revenue in the past 24 hours is just 2.5 million. You can see DEX volume 400 million in the past 24 hours. And you can see the bridge TVL and stuff like that. So you can see Hyper EVM is already a top 10 chain. It's currently ranked 9 on DeFi Llama with only 41 protocols, and it's up 42% in the past month, which if you compare to any other chain, you can see this massively stands out. And it's no wonder why with everything that's been built and everything that's going on within the Hyperliquid ecosystem. Another thing is this. Look at Hyperliquid compared to all the other CEXs. You can see that it is taking over market share of all of them. Hyperliquid versus CEXs on perps volumes, the market share. By market share, we can see that it is 10% of Binance, 22% of Bybit, and 20% of OKX. And all of these charts show up and to the right, which means Hyperliquid is taking market share from every single centralized exchange. You can see on open interest, it's currently 14.9%. And you can see just how well Hyperliquid is doing in comparison to all these centralized exchanges. It is gaining on every single one of them. And here is why you need to be all over Hyperliquid and the Hyper EVM ecosystem, because 42% of the total Hype token supply, that's almost half of the supply, guys, is reserved for future emissions and community rewards. Right, you know what that means, don't you? Community rewards. Since they already airdropped over 300 million in Hype, and 42% of the total supply is reserved for community rewards. Understand that if they just airdropped 4% of this supply that is reserved for community rewards, just 4% of this, that would be bigger than the initial Hype airdrop. And the initial Hype airdrop, users received on average $28,400. And that was at a price when Hype was just $8.60. Hype is now sitting at around $35, and it has gone all the way up to about $42, which means for everybody that held their airdrop, they are up multiple X's. So this is why you really need to study Hyperliquid and what is going on. So anyway, let's jump into the airdrop tutorial. So firstly, what you're going to need to do is, of course, bridge over to Hyper EVM. So to do this, you're going to need a wallet, and you're going to need some funds, of course. You're going to need some Ethereum, and you're going to want to bridge over. So to do that, we're going to use Hyperswap. I will leave links to everything in the description and the pinned comment of this video below. So make sure you use all of those links to access everything in this video. Now, another thing is you're going to want USDC on Arbitrum in your wallet. Okay, once you have USDC on Arbitrum in your wallet, what you can then do is you can use Hyperliquid itself, and you can do a few things on here. So the first thing is obviously you can trade. You can trade perps and you can trade spot. So I recommend having a few positions open, longing, shorting a few different currencies, and just pushing volume through Hyperliquid. So that's going to be another way that you can earn a nice part of the airdrop, is through pushing volume through Hyperliquid's exchange itself. You can see in the past 14 days, I've only done 12k volume, which isn't much, but it's something. So I recommend pushing volume through Hyperliquid because there's probably going to be two different airdrops. There's going to be an airdrop for Hyper EVM and there's going to be an airdrop for Hyperliquid users because they've already airdropped Hyperliquid users in the past. The next airdrop is likely going to be for people using the Hyper EVM, their new layer 1. But also by trading on Hyperliquid, you just want to be doing everything Hyperliquid basically. So I recommend having a few long and short positions open and buying a few different coins on spot. So you can do that up here. I will leave my link to Hyperliquid in the pinned comment below, and that will give you 4% discounted trading fees. One great thing about Hyperliquid is they have all of the new coins, and they have this before all of the centralized exchanges. So you can trade all of the new meme coins and such before they list on places like Binance and Kraken and all these other places. Hyperliquid always has them first. So another thing that you can do is you can deposit into the vaults. You can deposit into the protocol vaults, such as HLP, the Hyper Liquidity Provider, and that is kind of like having a stake in Hyperliquid. Essentially, you deposit USDC into here, and it's a community-owned vault where Hyperliquid make multiple market-making strategies, they perform liquidations, and accrue platform fees. You can see all the different trades and positions that they're taking. You're essentially earning a profit from the profit that Hyperliquid are making. You can also decide to invest in some user funds if you'd like to do that as well. These are just users that have set up their own vaults and are trading on Hyperliquid, and you can deposit with them and earn a share of their profits or of their losses as well. But you can click on them and you can analyze their P&L in the past 24 hours, by 7-day, 30-day, or all time. And you can see a little description about them, and you can check out their performance and such, and all the different positions and trades they're also taking. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to stake some hype. So you can see I've got 17 staked hype, and I'm staking in the Nansen and Hyper Collective because Nansen also are going to have their own airdrop, and this is like a double whammy. So that's why I'm staking in that validator, but you can really choose any validator that you like. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over to Hyperswap and we're going to click bridge. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to bridge over to Hyper EVM. Okay. So bridge over from Ethereum to Hyper EVM. Once you've done that and you now have funds on Hyper EVM, we can begin exploring the ecosystem. And essentially all we want to do is we want to bridge as much funds over to Hyper EVM, and we want to push a lot of volume through the ecosystem in all areas. We want to be doing DeFi, we want to be supplying, lending, borrowing, we want to be staking. Right, we want to be doing all the different things across the Hyper EVM ecosystem, because the more we are spread throughout the ecosystem, the more money we bridge over, the more volume we put through, the more swaps we're doing on the different dexes. All of that is going to contribute to our points and our point score. And the higher the points we have, the bigger the airdrop we're going to get. And a lot of these protocols, they each have their own point system. You can see points here, you can see rewards, right? They all have a point system, and it's possible that a lot of these protocols will come out with their own tokens as well. And that means we can further benefit and we can get even more free money essentially. So how do we start? So we start by bridging. So use Hyperswap and bridge funds over. Once you now have funds on Hyper EVM, what you can do is you can begin exploring the ecosystem. You can begin trading. So what I recommend that you do is you get some staked hype. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use Hyperbeat. Again, all links will be in the description below. And some of these links will also earn you further points because some of them will be referral links. So make use of that. It helps me out for making this video, and it also helps you out. So to get staked hype, all we need to do is stake some hype. So simply enter in the amount you'd like to stake, click stake, confirm in your wallet, then you will receive staked hype. 1 hype equals 1 staked hype. Okay, you can see that in my wallet here, staked hype. Okay, very easy. Next, we're going to use Hyperfi. So connect your wallet. Make sure you're doing all of this on the same wallet. And in Hyperfi, what we're going to do is we're going to borrow. And on Hyperfi, what we're going to do is we're going to deposit some of that staked hype. Okay. And then we're also going to borrow some hype. So we're going to deposit and we're going to borrow. To do that, we can click on quick borrow. We can deposit and then we can borrow. And we can see our health factor and our loan to value. Okay. So the amounts that you put in here will depend on your risk tolerance and what you want to do. But you can just sort of create any amount and make sure that, you're not going too aggressive because you don't want to be too close to liquidation. But you don't have to worry about that too much. Just make sure you're more towards this end. Now, another bridge that you can use is Hybridge as well as Unit. So if you have some native Bitcoin, some native Solana, you can also bridge that in using Unit. I recommend using multiple bridges because, as I said, the more involved you are in the ecosystem, the more volume that you're putting through all these different bridges across all these different protocols, the more money you're going to earn in this airdrop. So make sure you do that. Now, another protocol that we're going to be using is Hyperlend. So again, you want to do the same thing. You want to supply some hype and you can supply some wrapped stake hype if you want. But the main thing is that we're just supplying some hype. And then what you also want to do is you want to borrow some hype. Okay, so you can also borrow. So I've already supplied some hype. So now I can go ahead and borrow. So to do this, you simply click on hype, supply hype, drag the slider and click supply and confirm. They also have wrapped HLP, which is another thing I'm going to get into later on in this video. In fact, I just made a previous video, so you can go and check that out if you want to learn about wrapped HLP. And you can see Hyperlend is one of the most popular protocols on here. It's very safe with $312 million in TVL and $112 million in borrows. They also have a point system and you can claim this daily drop to climb throughout the ranks. And that will earn you XP. So I recommend that you do that, so be active on here. You can also support me if you'd like to, if you found this video useful, and that will help me climb through the tiers. Currently I'm on 0 referrals, so that would be quite nice. Now another protocol we're going to use is Felix. So on Felix we can go into the stability pools by depositing hype or Bitcoin, or we can also borrow. So if you click on borrow, you can then borrow here. And we can also lend. And you can see some stats here. Over $150 million in collateral has been deposited with Felix. Total borrowed almost 60 million and 70 million in lending. So again, this is a very popular protocol to be using, which is why we want to be using it. Being early and using all of these protocols is what is going to earn you money in the airdrop. So you can see I currently have some Felix USD and I'm also providing liquidity on Hyperswap. So that's another thing you can do on Hyperswap. You can go to explore and you can explore these different liquidity pools. I went on to concentrated liquidity, or no, if I click on all and you type in FUSD and USDT0. So I believe I'm in this one, 700k TVL. Yep, so you can see I have one active position and I have some Felix in there and I have some USDT0. So that's another thing that you should do. You do just click add liquidity and supply liquidity. You'll need even amounts of both. So you could literally just supply $100 of each of these stable coins. And this one is good because they're both stable coins. So there's not going to be too much fluctuation because they're going to be trading in a tight range. So you shouldn't really lose out on any money on this. Very easy to do. Now, another site we can use for some swaps is Liquid Swap. This is an aggregator, so this will aggregate across all of the different DEXs and provide you with the best price. It's kind of like a 1inch for Hyper EVM. And they also have staking. I think the Liquid D token is going to do very, very well because I like the product. They also have Liquid Launch, which is like the pump fund version of Hyper EVM. And by staking Liquid D, you are going to receive Hype token rewards, and they are giving 100% of the platform fees to stakers. So you can earn quite a lot of money staking Liquid D. LIMINAL is another one. This is a way that you can put your stable coins to work, and essentially they have a 100% delta neutral strategy, And what they do is you deposit and they will use your funds to trade on Hyperliquid using a delta neutral strategy, which currently the past 30 days has earned 17.8% APY, which is very good. But they're currently capped at 20 mil TVL, so you have to wait until they increase the cap for you to be able to deposit. But this looks very good. I'm waiting to get in on this one. You can also use looped hype, which is a way to earn more money on your hype. So you'd simply click get L hype. And this is a strategy you can use to get 10% APY on your hype. So you could either use a boosted stake or regular stake. They have $50 million in TVL. Hyperwave is another one that you can use, and this essentially tokenizes the HLP. So I just did this. So you can see in my portfolio, I have $500 worth of essentially staked HLP, which I can then take and I can use in Hyper EVM. I can take this money and I can deposit it into Curve and earn even more APR, or I can put it into Kitten Swap as and provide liquidity and earn even more money. So this is a great one that you can use if you want to be in the HLP on Hyperliquid, benefit from Hyperliquid's market making and liquidation process and earn a share of the fees, whilst also being liquid to take those funds and put them into DeFi. So that is how you can get involved in the Hyperliquid airdrop, how you can take advantage of this massive opportunity, how you can make lots of money in 2025 with Hyperliquid. I suggest you study Hyperliquid. Watch my first airdrop video if you want to have a more detailed guide of me actually clicking the buttons and doing everything. I make lots of Hyperliquid videos, Hyper EVM content and crypto content and tutorials in general. So subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Links to everything will be in the description below. And I highly recommend checking out my other Hyperliquid, Hyper EVM tutorials.